You've reached MikNeg.
Call us best friends.
Call us crazy. Call us anytime.
This podcast is all about self-love, relationships, career, pop culture, and everything in between.
Grab your snacks and join the call. Okay, and we're back.
We're back. Hello.
We're back for episode 2.
We're back for episode 2. Hi, guys. How are we doing today?
Yeah, how are we doing? How are we feeling? It is 11:15 in the morning, Saturday morning in Toronto. But what time is it for you, Neg?
It is 5 p.m. my time in Barcelona.
What times is the sunset there?
I have no
Right
idea.
now.
These days, because I feel like, you know, I'm living on Canadian time, right? So I barely
True.
Right, and COVID is so bad in Spain that I really don't get out. Like, I try not to.
Yeah, that's understandable for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How are we doing, guys? How is your week going? Like, how are you doing? Tell us, like, let us know. I don't know.
Podcast Thursday.
Podcast Thursday. We love that day.
Yeah, but we're recording this on a Saturday. So
on a Saturday.
That's
exactly.
Yeah, just for reference. Yeah.
Do you want to get us started, Mik? Tell us 3 things you're grateful for.
Yeah, 100%. Am I gonna alternate, or am I rounding them off right now?
I think we can just list them because, like, you know.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. 3 things. Number 1, my skincare routine. Yeah, been so diligent on that lately, and I'm so grateful to be able to use the products consistently and have my skin be in the best that it can. I've acne problems forever and ever and ever. I have very oily skin, so finding a good skincare routine has been a struggle, but I feel like I've got a good thing going for me right now, and I'm very grateful for that. Second thing would be phone calls with grandma. I talked to her, I think this would have been like a few days ago now, but yeah, she honestly always such a great time to talk to grandma, and she always makes me laugh. She's great. We get along great.
Yeah, your grandma's great. I like your grandma. Hi.
She's not a regular grandma. Yeah, Grandma Glam. Not a regular grandma. She's a cool grandma. And yeah, literally her nickname is Glam Gram, and that's in her email address as well, Glam Gram.
That's so cool.
And she's so funny. She's so funny. We shop together. We go to Florida together.
Yeah,
we're always hanging out.
Honestly, guys, I think it's important to say Mik has the coolest family.
Oh,
you have
I don't think so, but
family. Like, her dad is hilarious. Like, I feel like
Peter Kuhn.
Oh, you know what? I could, if your dad
He's a great guy.
If he had like an entire YouTube channel / TikTok or whatever, I would binge that. Like, he's so cool. And then her brother Nick is so sarcastic and so kind of like dark, which is so
very
cool.
Sarcastic. Yep.
And then
that's Nick.
Your mom is just such a sweetheart, and she also hits the nail every single time. So
yeah, I'd say like my mom has been my moral compass. My conscience for a lot of years, and yeah, I've always looked to mom for some good advice. Yeah. Mom knows what's up for sure. The third thing is it's very little, but I'm so grateful for it, and it's my little pink flowers from the grocery store. Sometimes I just love, like, when I go out, I go out very few times. I go out to get groceries, and it's just like that little time I can go and pick up all the stuff I need. And sometimes I do get myself something like some flowers or something like that, and I just like come home and I put them in my little vase. I have them, they're too far to catch right now. On video I'd show them, but they're too far to get right now.
It really changes everything, right? Like,
I love it.
Something. Yeah,
it's just like a little pick me up, and I put them there and I look at them every day, and they're just so cute, little pink flowers. I am like a flower person. Like, some people might think it's a waste of money, but I love it. I love having fresh flowers. Really nice touch to the room. Yeah, so those are my 3 things. What are yours?
My three things. My first one are the Chloe Ting workouts that I'm
I
doing.
saw you've been doing those.
Okay, so I'm doing every day a challenge. Basically,
Good
it's
for
a series
you.
of videos where it kind of like teaches you to kind of train your core and your arms. I'm really bad on arms. I can't do anything on my arms, and
Me neither.
I've always I've always felt
Upper
very
body
complex.
strength is not
Nothing,
here.
zero. Yeah, right. So
Same though.
she's been really good at, well, I'm talking about Chloe Ting like she's training me every day, but no, it's just like a series of
It can feel
videos.
like it though. Yeah.
It does. Like it's been very good to have kind of like a series of exercises to relate to. And also I feel like the greatest thing about these challenges is that they're very, very promoted online, and you
Yeah.
know, there is a lot of social proof that they work and that people are seeing true results in their bodies. And I feel like I'm okay. And I know that
That's such a
talking about weight,
marketing term, social
talking
proof. But
no,
yeah,
but you know what, talking about weight can be very triggering for some people, and I'm one of them,
that's
definitely.
true.
But
Yeah.
like, I feel like quarantine weight has been real for some people. It has been real for me. And
100%.
it's hard to deal with. Okay. It's
It's a
hard.
struggle,
It's really
especially when you
hard.
have a desk job and you're sitting for like, 8 to 10 hours a day. It's hard. And then
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, your mind is so exhausted, but you should, still move your body
You
in
should
some way
still
or
move your
another.
body. And I feel like, you know, like the
I
whole
know.
thing about walking to work, walking to the gym, like having all this kind of little walking moments, you
Yeah.
don't have them anymore. And you're
No, that's so
seated
true.
all day and
Uh-huh.
you
Uh-huh.
eat. So obviously, I feel like I've heard the
Yeah.
term like
Catches
quarantine
up with you.
15, as in, you know,
Yeah. Like instead of freshman 15, it's the quarantine
yeah,
15, which makes
it's been
sense.
real. It's been very
Yeah.
real. And
It makes sense.
I've grown to feel very not secure about, you know, like my body, and just I felt like this year has been a lot of like losing myself and losing my body also, and how it
Mm,
looks and how I know it to be. And it's
yeah.
been very painful. And
That's
I know
tough.
it's so stupid to say that. You know, it's so stupid to say you know, I'm having a bad time because I'm gaining weight. And at the end of the day, a lot of women think that, you know, like when you feel like you are
Yeah, put
losing
in that.
yourself visually a
Mm,
little bit.
mm, mm.
So Chloe Ting has been helping me with that. And I'm really grateful because yesterday I tried a pair of jeans that I bought at the, like during quarantine, and they didn't fit. And I felt like ish
Mm,
because of that. And I tried them on and they fit
that'll do it.
yesterday. And it was just like,
Oh,
yes, the
that's
pair
so good. And then
fit.
it's working. It's like all
It's
your hard
working.
work is paying off.
I
That feels
know.
good. When you can fit
I
into something
know.
that you haven't fit into, like, even the last time
In
you
a
put it on, it
while.
didn't really fit right, and the
I
next time you
know.
put it on, it's like, ooh, this
Ooh,
is
it
good. Like
fits. It's
it
good.
fits.
And also, you know what? It's a lot of hours. Like it's a lot of time of your
Yeah.
day that you take.
Yeah.
And as you said, after work, I'm like exhausted. And you know, the fact that I go and do it and I'm like, okay, is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? You know, like I've been doing it
I
for a few
know.
months now.
Good
And it's
for
working.
you.
It's
Oh my
working.
gosh.
Yeah.
That's such a commitment to be able
It's a
to work
commitment.
out every day.
Every
Like
day.
I'm bad. I won't work out every day. I'll do
It's
my home workouts 2 to 3 times a week. That's it. That's
No, but
all
that's,
for
you know
me.
what? That's exactly how you should be doing it at the end of the day. And those challenges are known to be very intense. So what I'll do is like I'll do one challenge, and then when I'm done doing a challenge, I'll just, you know, just pause a little bit and just do
Yeah.
maybe, you know, two, like 3 to 4 times a week, and that's it. But while you're doing it,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
good to it's good. Like I'm really grateful for that because I fit in my jeans and I'm happy about
That's
that. So
awesome. That's
I know it's really
awesome. Something
cool.
to feel good about for sure.
It is. It really, honestly, I'm just really grateful. Honestly, I'm just really happy. So yeah, the
Love it.
second thing I'm really, really, really grateful for is uh and this is gonna sound so but it's the weekend, guys. I am so happy. And one thing that goes with that is that I'm really grateful that got kind of like my creative mojo back a little bit. I feel like I had lost that for the longest time. And,
Right.
you know, I feel like I'm finally in the mood of creating, writing, doing things, you know, filming a podcast.
I love it.
Who would have said that? You know?
I know, right? Oh, I love that.
It's such a great thing to feel, oh, the weekend is here, my personal time is here, and I'm gonna be capable of focusing on something that I want to focus on because I want to focus on it and not because I have to, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and those creative juices, that's energy in itself. Like, I love that. When you start feeling super creative again, like, I love those times.
Yeah.
Take it and run with it. Do anything that you can, you know?
That's so true. Like, I feel like when you find something that you really have that makes you feel good at the end of the day, and that you're like, ooh, you know, I have that. And it's not even about results. It's not even about how it works or whatever, but just how it makes you feel while you're doing it. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. That's awesome.
I know you do.
I love it.
And the third thing I'm really, really grateful for is that, guys, we just filmed our first episode and it went amazing. and we're just like doing so much better at this than I ever thought we would be. You know, I thought it would take a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, this is episode 2. We've only done 1 so far, but I felt like it flowed. Like, and I felt good about it. I felt good about it. And I feel like podcasting can be really fun.
It's gonna be really fun. Like, I was scared that we would be very awkward in a way. You know what I mean? It's just
because we know that, like, people are gonna listen to this, and like, are we gonna be like thinking about what we're saying? And like, no, it was literally just like you and I having a conversation, very organic, very natural, and I hope it came across that way, but that's how I felt.
I thought it would take us a longer time to get to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that just it would take a few episodes to really feel like we're actually having a conversation, like we are always having it, because it's a new way of having that conversation, right?
Exactly.
But no, it's great. So I'm grateful about that because it makes me feel good. You know?
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So those are grateful things. Getting into today's like topics, I guess we wanted to talk about, you know, your 20s.
Our 20s.
Yes. Our 20s, your 20s, however you want to put it. Yes. We wanted to talk about our 20s specifically. And kind of share some insight, you know, like kind of the things that we've learned so far, lessons along the way, milestones, things we've accomplished.
Boy, I know. We've accomplished so much. I'm saying that way.
It's good to look back on stuff like that.
I know. You know what? Actually,
it's really important.
Hard. It was hard for me to be like, what have I achieved? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and also there's a thing. I feel like, when you kind of reach, because I'm 28 now. I just turned 28, right? I feel like when you reach the end of your 20s, because we never talked about this actually, but we're different ages. You know, like you're 4 years
But I forget how old you are.
Oh, I forget all the time how old we are. Like, I think we're basically on the same wavelength, right? But
I feel like we are. Yeah.
We totally are.
I just turned 24 in July, so.
Exactly. So she's a Leo, by the way, and I am a Libra.
Libra,
for all the big astrology.
The star sign. Yes, star sign people.
People are into that stuff. So yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I think that it's when you reflect about this and you start thinking, what have I done during my 20s? It's almost inevitable to kind of look at your peers and be like, what have you done during your 20s? And what have you done during your 20s? You know what I mean? And it's like, so what have I done during my 20s? What have I done? Oh, I'm starting to stress. I'm going to be 30.
I need to start naming off some stuff. Yeah, no, that pressure's there for sure. Cause like, even when I was thinking about it, because we kind of like plan these topics ahead of time. Right. And I kind of had some time to think about it a bit. And when I was looking back, you know, when I think about my 20s, I've really only had 3.5 years because I just turned 24. Right.
Yeah.
So I haven't had a lot of my 20s yet. This is still the beginning of my 20s.
This is still your 20s. It is.
Yeah. And
at the end of the day,
feel like I've come really far, but at the same time,
you
I'm
have.
I still have a lot left to experience.
You really have it. And actually,
You know?
I talked to my brother about it, like, and shout out to
Really?
Darius if you're listening, which you're probably
Hey!
not.
Shout out, yeah.
But like,
Okay,
but
what if he's listening?
Because Darius and you are the same age, my baby brother,
We are,
and
yes.
you are the same age. And so, he was like, I was kind of talking to him about the topics we were going to talk about, and he's like, but for you it's okay because you're almost reaching 30, but what about Michaela? And I'm like, you would be surprised by the amount of stuff that Michaela has learned, like in the little of 20s that she's had.
Little 20s.
No, but it's true.
And then just think about all the much more that I'm about to face. So.
Yeah.
But
do you want to talk about big accomplishments and like moments of our 20s? What would you consider
biggest
your big
moments?
moment?
Okay. So big moments for me, well, I don't know if this would really be count 20, but I count it as 20 because when I was 19, just before I turned 20, I moved out. I moved out on my own. I moved to Toronto. I came from a small town. Honestly, a population of like around 20,000 people, right? Moving to Toronto, huge city. Honestly, a dream of mine. My dream was to go live downtown Toronto and go to fashion school. And that's exactly what I did. So yeah, I moved out at 19, got my own place, really small apartment. I still live in the same apartment. If you're watching video, you can see like a background of it.
You do. You really do.
Yeah, I still live in the same place. It's been almost 5 years. 5-year anniversary will be October 1st, which is coming up. We will be already posting this podcast before then, but so that was huge for me, moving out. And then I feel like that followed a lot of the lessons and the things in my life that were monumental.
It really did.
Yeah. And like, just kind of like growing in that like independence and relying less on like the people I grew up with, like my family and stuff, meeting new friends, going through like, relationship changes. Like I had moved here and I was in a long-term relationship and we, were doing long distance in the beginning. So, that change, that was huge for me. And then, going through, I guess some of the big times other in my 20s would like be when I think it was just before I was 20. I ended up having like a breakup, pretty bad, pretty big breakup after almost 4 years. And that's, at that age, that's a lot of time in my life to be investing in something, right? So that was huge for me. The whole breakup thing, that was a huge moment in my time. Obviously attending fashion school, that was pretty big. I graduated at 21. I got my first full-time job right after that. So at 21, I started working in the industry, like full-time, and really like, I guess, immersed myself quickly and realized that there were a lot of things I needed to work on in myself.
Yeah. I feel like your timeline is so quick. Like, I feel like and for me, because I come from a more traditional kind of system, which is like doing school for 4 years and then masters and you know what I mean? I feel like
that was what I wanted. Like going back, I wanted the 4-year university. I wanted that long stretch of time to really grow up and really get into the whole education before I did the career.
I'm so glad you didn't. Like at the end of the day, I feel like I
really fast forwarded, and it made me have to grow up a little bit quicker too.
You have achieved so much. Yeah.
I've always been told, like from a young age, that I was mature for my age, whatever that means. That could mean different things to different people. But apparently I was mature for my age, and I feel like I've always been able to do things, I guess, a certain way that like maybe my peers haven't. I've always done it a little bit differently. And just like the values and the things that I was taught growing up too. And like starting my career right away, like that was something that was honestly a little bit terrifying because I knew I was so young. But I feel like a lot of people that I was surrounded with, like at least like in a working environment, they didn't realize how old I was and they didn't need to know. They didn't need to know. Now they ended up finding out, and then they were like, "Oh, well, that explains some things." but and that was a time of growth for me for sure, because I had to look at myself and really, really be able to evaluate, what do I need to improve on, and how can I be a better person, a better employee, better at communicating, better at, whatever it is, right? There were a lot of things I struggled with. And like I've mentioned, like I do have anxiety. So the whole like, you know, moving out on my own, you know, my first full-time job, like that evoked so much anxiety and like how to handle that. You know, back when I was 19, I just moved out, it would be a phone call to mom crying. Well, I don't do that anymore, obviously, but
you really
that
changed
would be
your like how
what it looked like, my coping mechanisms and the way I process
cope
things
so much better. It's night and day.
The management in my brain, it's like,
in
you
your
know,
head,
I can't go to that worst case scenario. I can't go to that and just cripple and fall to the ground and, you know, everything's, you know, the end of the world. No, it's not that. It's not that way, you know? And that's how it feels sometimes. But honestly, you've got to be able to say to yourself, like, snap out of it. That's not how you can deal with, you know, situations in a realistic way. You have to really, really monitor your reaction. So that was something I think that I had to deal with a lot, was the way I reacted to things. And stuff like that. I ended up dealing with here in this apartment, I ended up dealing with cockroaches, which to me is like the biggest phobia ever. I feel like that was so monumental in adulting because I couldn't call my dad. I couldn't be like, oh, dad, come kill this bug for me. No, I had to kill it myself. And oh, it was terrifying, guys. Like when I tell you, like I would cry when I see one, I'm not kidding. Like, I would freak out.
I feel like, you know, it's
and
really
I dealt with that for over a year.
I know it's really easy to be like, oh, Michaela, oh, she's being dramatic about it, but she has phobia of bugs.
Yeah, like
she has a real legit phobia of bugs.
It's something in me that like you can't control. Yes, anxiety around bugs. If I know there's a bug, no, I couldn't sleep. And
so funny.
I had this started when I was in my last semester of school. So it was a very stressful time. I remember I had all these projects, all these like last like things to do. And I was so worried about the space that I lived in. Like I didn't even feel comfortable living in this place. Like I wanted to move. I did at a time plan that I would, you know, want to move, but fortunately the situation got under control and I was able to control it a bit better. But it was a really, really trying time for me. And it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about, you know, how I react to things, how I can handle things on my own, and that I just need to persevere because now I don't have that issue. And I absolutely love my space. I didn't want to give up my space. It's such a great location. Like the rent is so good because I moved here like 5 years ago. So like, it's so good. Like I really like for a downtown Toronto place, like I have a good situation. So I didn't want to give that up. Right. So I just like, I persevered. I was patient. I did my best to like work myself through it and I did it and I came out on the other side. And yeah, it taught me a lot, honestly, like the bug situation. And I laugh because it's so weird. It's so funny. Who would get so upset about cockroaches? But I did.
Honestly, a lot of people do. It's a very legit like
that reaction. And mice, but I've never had mice.
Oh, mice, I know. Oh my god, if I have a mice, I swear to god I'm never coming back.
I've never. But bed bugs, that's a thing too. Bed bugs.
Yeah, I know.
I've never had that.
Do you understand? I've never heard of bed bugs before I moved to Toronto.
You said that. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like a Toronto, New York kind of thing. I don't know. There's got to be other places that have it, but I know New York and Toronto are known for these things. Yeah.
It's funny.
Bed bugs and cockroaches and mice. Welcome. Welcome to city living.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? With its little antenna. Hello, what's up?
Oh my god, don't say that. Don't say that. Oh.
I know, I think of it too. Ooh, if I think about it, I start like, ooh, like freaking out. Ooh, I don't want to think about that too much. Yeah, the cockroach situation, but came out on the other side for that. And then I guess another big thing that happened was I wrote this like rap because I always love rap music, and I got it produced. That was a cool thing. That was fun for sure. Yeah, very monumental, and just like my growth and like, you know, being able to, I guess, like have a message. Like I was always never one to like speak my mind and say my opinion and stuff like that. And the song touches on that, and I don't know, it was a cool thing that, you know, I really wanted to do because it's just for fun.
Snaps on
I have a song. Yeah.
Snaps on that. Yeah. Honestly.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was great.
So
I'll say it. Shameless plug. I honestly, you know what? I say it. Honestly, I remember still the day you kind of like wrapped it for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, in the street. I remember the first time.
In the street.
You didn't even let me finish. You cut me off and you were like, Mik,
I
this is
did.
the best thing you ever wrote.
I said, this is the best thing you've ever wrote, because I never heard you that like that
hit the nail on the head.
Just you were so sincere and just so true to yourself and not afraid to say it the way it is.
Aww,
and I think that it was so inspiring to see you push that way. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you.
Push that way, like go there, like, you know, even though it was scary. And guys, having your own song is a very scary thing to do. Like, it's so you know,
because it's like putting yourself out there, and you know, there's other people's opinions that, you know, I can start to think about, like, you know, obviously, like, oh, what's she trying to be, a rapper? She thinks she can, like, you know, do this song and whatever. Like, I don't know. There's just certain things, I guess, associated with it that you start getting in your head about. But honestly, for me, it was a fun project. It was something I just wanted to do because I wanted to. And why not? You know, I'm young. It's not like I'm gonna, like, you know, be married and have kids and start rapping again. Like, I kind of want to do this while I can, you know.
You know, I love how,
because then I think I'd really get made fun of.
prior to that, it was Little Mik, and then it was gonna be like Mama Mik, Mama Mik.
Mama.
Mama Mik.
That's a big mama thing. That's little Kim.
It's a Mama Mik. It's Mama Mik.
Yeah.
I dress my kids in pink. You know,
pink.
Like,
yeah, because Mik and pink, you can rhyme that. You can totally rhyme that. I've rhymed that before.
It was meant to be, you know.
Yeah.
I guess it's a really great thing that you did that for yourself.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it was a big thing for sure. And yeah, just like honestly through my 20s, just constantly like learning about myself and like I've been blogging a lot, like content creation. I've always loved creating photography, writing, fashion, styling outfits. Like that's always been a form of self-expression for me, and just experimenting with that and having fun. That's been,
you've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. All the pinkness,
all the pink you can
on
get.
the pink life, on the pink. So yeah, it's been good. And I want to know what your big moments are.
My big moments are, so it's funny because if you would have asked me that same question probably when I was around 24, your age, I feel like it would have been like my biggest thing that I've done is like I finished business school,
university.
And I felt very, very,
but that's a huge accomplishment.
Back then I felt very, very, very proud of that because, you know, I feel like,
because that's a legit school. Like the school
I went to a legit school.
That's like legit.
Yeah.
And that's like, that shows your perseverance.
I know.
Your resilience. Like that's not easy.
It's not. It's a very,
not easy.
Very well-renowned school. And it was very hard. And like, it doesn't happen in North America, but like, or I don't know if it happens, but for us, basically a lot, like a high percentage of people that get in first year get kicked out. Like there is a high, because they don't make the cut, and you have to have certain grades to
kicked out.
They get kicked out. You can get kicked out if you don't get the results that you need. If you don't pass, you get kicked out, basically.
Wow.
You have a few shots until you can make it and actually get kicked out. And it was a struggle, honestly. Imagine this was not what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to do fashion, and I was in business learning about finance and, you know, like
economy,
how to be an accountant, like economy, all those very kind of very non-interesting to me topics that I would hate
that.
You would have hated it. Like
I would have failed. And anything to do with math and finance, I'm out.
There's math, like actually really like kind of like, you know, like it, like I don't even know, matrix and stuff like that. So it was very
graphing.
Exactly. It was very
data.
It was really hard.
Not my forte.
No. There was a lot of data, and so
I'd be done.
Yeah, you would have. And I didn't want to be there. I didn't feel like I fit in. I knew that, you know, I was supposed to fit in. I knew that what was expected of me was to be one of them. It was to be exactly the same way, to think exactly the same way. And I really didn't. And I felt really bad for it. And I really tried to think the same way of being like, after I'm done this, I'm going to have a job in marketing in a big company. Woo! And, you know, like in the end, I ended it and realized it was not, my path was clearly different. And so, yeah, I would have told you at 24 that my biggest accomplishment is that I pushed through, and that even though it was really hard and that the results were hard to kind of like get, I made it. I ended up, I didn't have to repeat any year. I made it to the end. You know what I mean? But now
you did it right the first time and you persevered. And that
know.
shows a lot about a person though.
I know. And
Honestly.
and you know what's funny? The funny thing is, while you were talking about your big moments and you talked about school and how important it was to you, I was like, holy, I didn't talk about school, which at your age, school was like my biggest accomplishment. And now it just isn't, it didn't even make the list. Because now I feel like my biggest moment in my life, like the biggest moment of my 20s so far, is that I moved away from home. Like, and that's funny because it's the same as yours. But like for me, it was just such a big departure. It was saying, it was quitting an entire life behind, and it was really kind of saying I'm starting fresh somewhere. And starting fresh I was what, 22, I think. Starting fresh at 22 is not easy. Like, you know, like it was hard. I went to a place, a city, a new continent where I knew no one, where like I just didn't. I really didn't. And you know,
that to me is wild. Your story is wild because I probably would never do that. I moved an hour and a half away. Like, I can go home anytime. Yours is like an 8-hour flight. That's
I know, but
that's a
I feel
lot.
like when
that's
I did my exchange, that is my place. Like, I felt so tied. I tied Canada to my identity in a very strong way, and not in a way where Canada really defines me and who I am, but in a way where Canada is letting me be the person that I really am. Because I never felt that here at all. I never felt like I could be loud. I never felt like I could have a different path. I never felt like I could
speak your opinion and really.
No, you know, I never felt that. So moving home from home has been so eye-opening. It has been what has opened me to become the person that I am today, without any apologies, without any shame, without any, you know, just to be at the end of the day. And that was like the biggest thing for me. And then I feel like I also listed in my whole list, I had like having my first heartbreak. That heartbreak was so huge in who I am today and who I decided to be. And you know, it's just like it shaped you. We talked about this so many times. This heartbreak shaped me, shaped me in so many ways, in ways where I decided to put more importance in myself. And I'll talk about this a little bit later when we talk about things that we actually learned. But that heartbreak was a definite before and after for me. Some people just shape you that way. And not people, situations shape you. That's important to leave it out there.
Experiences and situations, 100%.
Not people.
Everyone comes into your life for a reason, but it's the experience with that person. I feel like that shapes you.
That make you. You know, if I said it's that person who made me who I am, it would be a lie. It's what happened that made me who I am. And then obviously you've talked about this too, but like blogging and fashion influencing. And I feel like for you and I, it's a totally different experience, because I feel like for you, it's always been like very about, you know, showing what you love and really kind of experiences new things and stuff like that. No, which is
fun stuff.
Awesome. It's awesome.
But
for me, it was a lot more heavy. It was on the heavier side.
Especially on like, you know, how you started your blog and how that kind of came to be, and like your purpose in your message. 100%.
It was very, I put a lot of importance in my writing, and I feel like I was really telling my life and just like talking about my day-to-day. And I was
Yeah.
always knew that I wanted to do this as transparently and as honestly and as boldly as I could do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like blogging and fashion influencing really it's a big moment in my life because it has seen me grow, and it's through that I could grow and have a voice and really have something to say and have just finally say what I was saying before. Hey, I'm different. I'm into this. I'm into that. I'm into this. I know I was grown up. I know they taught me to be that person, but this is me saying, F you all. I want to be this. I want to be who I am. I want to be me. I want to help people be who they are. I want them to feel good with who they are. And that's why it was so important to me, and how it grew to shape me a lot more and to give me personality and give me an identity and to claim it, because I feel like I also already had that identity within me, but I claimed it very publicly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Public
then
identification.
I know, like, you grow a lot, like when you have
Scream
to
it from the
boldly say
rooftops.
this is who I am, it
Yeah.
becomes more real than when no one knows about it, you know?
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I have is the job in tech. Having that job in tech changed me so much. So much.
Totally different world.
Totally
but I feel like
different
opened
world.
you up to a whole other avenue, and honestly has taught you a lot, and a lot about yourself.
A lot about myself. It's funny because you think that bloggers are very confident and stuff. I don't think I had any confidence before I started in that job in tech. And I feel like it really gave me so much self-empowerment. It gave me so much, hey, I can actually make a lot of really cool stuff happening, which, funny enough, after so long blogging, I didn't feel like that ever. And getting that job in tech and who it helped me to be, and also on a technical side, it taught me so many different things that I didn't know before. Like, it taught me PR, it taught me email marketing, you know, like it really, the good thing about working in a startup is that you are handed so many things.
Yes.
And it taught me not to be scared to take something new and just say, I'm not a specialist, I can do a lot of things, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you and I, our profiles are exactly like that, because we can do so many things.
We can do anything and everything.
We can do anything and everything, you know what I mean?
You need it, we've got it.
We got it. We just learned how to do it.
I know.
We're self-started. And
Google is very helpful, but
that's true.
For work, I just Google everything. Look up YouTube tutorial.
But you know how some people, they just start their career, and then when they're like told, can you do that, they're like, oh no, I'm specializing only in that, and that's not my area of stuff.
No. Honestly, like in work and everyday life, like I feel like it's really important to stay open to always learning and be open to taking on new things, even if it's really scary, even if you don't necessarily know. Be like, well, I might not know now, but I'm willing to figure it out. And it's, you know, showing that initiative and that just like drive to like want more and be, you know, as helpful as you can.
Yeah, I know. It's
and in the long run curve. Exactly. And in the long run, it helps yourself, because like Neg and I's situation, like where we've had to, you know, take on lots of different roles at our jobs, you know, after it's all said and done, we have a lot of skills and a lot of things that we're familiar with. Instead of, you know, saying that I just specialize in social media. No, I've done pitching, I've done product development, I've done presentations, I've done, you know, I've been like a manager and a mentor to many interns. Like there's a lot, project management, like I've done a lot of, you know, different things aside from, I guess, what I specialize in.
But at the end of the day, I feel like marketing is exactly that way. The curse of marketing is that you end up doing everything.
That is true too. That is true.
If you're a data analyst, you're just like, I don't know what it is to be a data analyst, but I think that marketing, the curse of it is that every single job, wherever you go and how different it is in all the places you could go to, it's just, you're going to find a totally different world wherever you go. Right. So, honestly, I feel like I've learned so much, not only about on a technical side, but about myself, about self-confidence, and also about, I don't know, also the fact that I want to make a big difference. I feel like I work for a company that really make a difference in the world, and I feel like I never thought making a difference mattered as much, like I knew that I would want to make a difference on my own, but I didn't know it was important for me to be part of
I
a
see. I
company
see.
that made a difference as well, and it is
That's
important for me,
interesting.
you know
That's really interesting.
and
Yeah, that's great.
the last thing I have is that I stopped blogging, and that was really important for me because it gave me a break, a really good break to become the new version of me that I needed to
Yeah.
be. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
I feel like with blogging, you create a lot. You end up a lot of time doing a lot of execution and a lot of
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
hustle. You're always on it. You always have to do stories and
You're just like
creating
spitting out
content,
content
editing,
24/7.
yeah,
It's
writing,
yeah. You're
and
on a
one day
loop, and
you
it's like,
just
when does it end?
it's a cycle,
Yeah.
and it was okay for a moment, but then
Yeah.
I guess I
Yeah.
grew to arrive at a point where I was like, I think it was around 26, 25, and I was just like, I have been in Toronto since I'm 22. Where is my life? Where are my friends?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
obviously I had you, but it's like,
Yes.
where's my life? We go to places, we have coffee, and we take more time shooting that coffee than actually having a coffee talk,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's things like that. And I remember too, like at that same time, like your whole thing was like, you need to put your phone down. Like you don't want to be attached to your phone
I don't
all
want
the
to be
time.
attached to my phone anymore.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. And
it's
because I
important.
can see how, that can get unhealthy. And even the whole thing, like I turned off notifications years ago because I don't care. Like I don't want to know when someone likes my photo or,
Yeah,
whatever. Like I don't need to be so in tune with that 24/7. I'll
yeah,
go on and check it when when I'm on there. But I don't need to be constantly reminded
on your
by
phone.
this online world. So yeah, and I feel like those kinds of things need to be monitored, and there can be a point where it does get unhealthy, and yeah,
Toxic,
you need to be,
yeah.
and toxic, and yeah, and you need to be aware of that. Yeah, for sure.
Also, I feel like the whole thing with the online world is really that you kind of lose yourself at some point.
You
And I
can.
feel like
Yeah.
we've talked about this, and I think that at some point it's inevitable that you arrive to a point where you're like, am I doing this because I like it, or am I doing this because
Mm,
everybody's doing it? Am I
yeah,
wearing this because this is me, or am I wearing it because
because it's a
Instagram pushed
trend.
me to write it?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
important to just be self-aware and ask yourself along the way, am I doing this because this is me? Is this me? Is this really me? And I feel like I had that question
Yes.
all the time in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, this is not you, so yeah.
Yeah. I feel like both of us are very like individualized in that, like, we know what we want, we know who we are,
Mhm.
and we know like what we like. And I feel like it says a lot when you can show up and be your authentic self. Like we're not,
Yeah,
wearing this because someone else did, or we're not, posing this way or doing that because we saw it, wherever else.
yeah,
But yeah, and like, and to us, I guess, as individuals, I can say that I think we can relate to that, and be I guess on the same page in terms of like what is like that's important to us, to have
yeah.
our own individual, I guess, look and feel,
Look,
and
feel, yeah.
yeah, and kind of like what we're putting out there, and being
But
cautious of that,
also,
conscious
like, are you
conscious.
doing it out of love? Like, are you doing it
Is
because
it coming from your heart? Yeah.
at the end of the day, I feel, and that sounds so cheesy, but I can guarantee you, and this is for anyone who, you know, is not an influencer or doesn't create content online. If you knew the amount of Instagrammers or bloggers or YouTubers or whoever you follow that are
Mm-hmm.
actually miserable in their real life, and
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
it takes them so much work to get, you know, what you
To
see and
polish
what
their
you
image
end up,
outside. Yeah.
exactly what you end up seeing, and it's not the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
there. And I know that we hear all about it, about how obviously this is a typical influencer thing to say, obviously my real life is not what you see, you know, but at the end of the day, I know so many people who actually are not doing that great. And it's like, so why do you keep blogging? Do you keep blogging because, and obviously there's the
like
people
the paycheck?
who make it the paycheck. There's people who have the paycheck, and then people who don't have the paycheck, and then people who chose not to have the paycheck. But at the end of the day, it's really important to stay aware that, you know, a lot of the content that we digest is not really 100% authentic in a way.
Yeah,
you know?
It's
Mine
good to
was
be
not.
aware of that. Yeah, I mean, there's been times when, you know, I can probably say that mine has been as well. But yeah, it can be hard, and you know, and I don't know, I always ask myself the question, like, you know, how vulnerable do I want to get? Like, do I really want to be sharing like these parts and pieces of myself on social media? And also, like, you know, there is that fear of judgment, like if people are watching you, or like, you know, I have a lot of like people I know obviously in person, like, you know, what are they going to say about this or something like that. So
I know.
yeah, and like it's hard. You get in your head about some things like that, at least I do. But yeah.
Sure. I used to do that a lot. Like I used to get in my head so much about, because here's the thing, there is so much more people that admit to looking your stuff that are looking at your stuff, you know what I mean? And I really try to, it's funny because there is this thing where every time that I would write, I would be like, Negin, you're literally putting everything out there, like you're putting all the most vulnerable sides of you. And I felt very exposed, and at the same time I feel like I'm very private to my life, like, you know, like, and you know that I'm a really private person. And there was always like this paradox of sharing so much and not feeling like I wanted to share so much. And yeah, it's and at the same time that, when I would be writing, like no one would read, you know? In my head, no one was reading what I was writing. That's the way.
Yeah, but in reality, like lots of people are reading it. Yeah, I see. The way you, put your mind to it.
You know?
Yeah,
hard.
For sure. That is tricky. Honestly, it really is. And I mean, even like we talked in episode 1, it's like we've shared certain parts of our life on social media, I guess, up to this point, and the podcast, you know. Hopefully we'll be able to shed some light on some other parts of ourselves. But no, your 20s, like, I feel like are a lot about learning about yourself, a lot about getting to know you. And this is the time of your life where you can focus on yourself. Like, I mean, I know for us, like, we've mostly been single in our 20s. So, I mean, I guess speaking for myself, like, I found it extremely, extremely helpful to be able to go through, you know, these different struggles or situations or experiences where I'm able to really reflect on my own and not be distracted by, you know, a relationship or something like that. Because I feel like when I was in a relationship before, like I'm like really in it, like I'm like all the way in it. So
you're like 100% in. It's true.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of your time and effort and energy and, you know, mind space goes to that person. Now, I mean, I've still like been dating and stuff like that and whatever, but we'll get into that like later, because I'm sure we'll discuss that at some point.
You know what, it's really funny. It's really funny because I feel like I have a lot of things. Okay, so, you know, my friends, and I think you think the same, but like a lot of my friends say that I'm the type of person, when I find the one, it's gonna be click clap cloop, let's get married, you know what I mean?
It's gonna be quick.
It's gonna be quick. Because
I feel like we talked about this recently. Yeah. I can agree.
And so I'm like, and because I know that, because I'm the type of person who literally gets attached to socks, you know, like I get attached to socks.
Oh my God, you're so cute.
It's so true. You know, I get attached to socks, so I need to be careful what I get attached to.
Yeah, and also that's true. I can relate to that.
I know you do. Like we both get attached. Like it's really sad. But I feel like it just pushed me to just be like, okay, so I'm the type of person that when my person will come along, I'll basically fall head over heels for that person. Why the hell would I try to have smaller commitments and like smaller, like, you know, I would rather take that time to really work on myself and really do all the things that I want to do. I want to have a big career. I want to get better at so many things. I have so much trauma I have to deal with, you know what I mean? And it's like trauma at the end of the day, you have to deal with it. If not, it will get reflected.
If you don't deal with it on your own, it will come out in your relationship and it will just
always
lead to a bad point. Exactly. Dealing with things like trauma on your own, so important. And needing to sort that out within yourself and being very self-aware of your triggers and, you know, the things, leading up to that. 100%.
I feel like a lot of people just don't think about that. They just don't think, I need to work on this before I feel like a lot of people think that when they get in that relationship, that would get sorted out. Like that person will help them.
They're going to save them. They're saving grace. They're going to make them a better person. Oh, come on. It's all up to you. It starts within you.
Do not.
Yeah. Honestly,
no one's
everything
here to
in life.
Save you. Yeah.
100%. Okay. And this is the thing. When I was younger, I think I had that immature mentality. Like someone else is going to save me. Someone else is going to look out for me. Like growing up, I always leaned very much emotional support on my mother. And even from when I was like, she'll tell you, like from when I was a baby, I would not go to sleep unless she was holding me. Like it was literally like a whole like attachment thing. And like just having like always needing to rely on her or rely on someone to cope. And I mean, I've mentioned the whole like moving out thing and independence, which has really led me to be able to rely on myself and really put that on myself to figure it out. And I've come to the realization where I was living a mindset of someone else is going to cure me. Someone else is going to help me. Someone else is going to be on my emotional support. But no, everything starts with you. Everything is on you. So it's 100%. Up to me. And I feel like as soon as I got that, as soon as I started cluing in, you know, that I have to fix myself, that's when the real work started. And that's where I started seeing the results.
100%. 100%.
Because it's a mindset. It is a mindset.
Same way. I was, you know, it's funny. I was thinking, oh my God, if I saw that girl today, I would probably slap her in the face. But like,
oh my God,
you know,
who?
I was thinking, not me. I'm talking about like, you know, young-year-old me.
Oh, like if you're talking to yourself. Okay, I need to clue
if I saw myself younger, I would just like slap her. Like I'd just be like, what are you doing with your life? You know?
I feel the same way sometimes.
Honestly, like, you know, like
what was I thinking? Very immature.
Why? You know,
the mentality.
I feel like that's a very Libra thing. I think that I was also romanticizing relationships so much and being like, relationships, right? Like relationships are supposed to be, you know, that other person comes and he completes
your better half. No.
Sorry, just like
you. Yeah, it's okay. I know. I heard that slip out. You have to come as you, as a whole person. You have to believe that you bring this value and you're looking for someone to bring their whole value. And it's like a dance. Like you are working together. It is an effort. Relationships are effort. It is not, just, it's not fate, true love. Like it's none of that. I used to think it was, but it's not.
It's exactly
that. Because they portray that in the movies. You're looking for the person who completes you, your better half. That's
I know.
For
like your
Hollywood.
Soulmates
that is
stuff.
That's
honestly,
not real life.
Here's where it gets interesting.
Barf.
I know, barf. Complete barf. Like honestly, I'm just like so
barf in a bag, man. I know.
Like
Same.
I used to think, you know, what I used to think is like two halves make a whole, but no, honey. No. You need to come whole, and the other person needs to come whole. If that other person doesn't come whole, if they don't come whole, you're gonna spend your relationship trying to fix someone else. That other person need to have done the work
100%.
too. And it's like,
yes, you need someone who's going to meet you where you are. And my mom puts it, I'm pretty sure she gets it from the Bible, but you need to be evenly yoked. You need to be at the same, you
at
know?
the same level, and you
Yeah.
need to, you know, really kind of have done the work, have done the,
Yeah.
you know, and being very self-aware on what you know, what you bring to the table. And also,
Yes. Yes.
it's very important that we all know, like, you know, what we're contributing to. And also being always, a relationship shouldn't have to be heavy lifting on one side and heavy lifting on the other.
Yeah.
I think that
there
you
are
know,
times when it's give and take, but yeah,
it needs to be, as you know,
when it comes to the bigger
us
picture,
against the problem. Yeah, it needs
exactly,
to be more us against
the problem. As the madness of the world turns around, you need someone who's going to stand there beside you and always have your back.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I feel it was a
Yeah.
huge lesson for me too, kind of like
mm-hmm.
this constructing this thing of, I need people to help
Yeah.
me, or I need my boyfriend to complete me, or
Yeah.
stupid.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling
I
you.
totally agree on that. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess in terms of like what my 20s has taught me, I'd say that for sure, my mindset, and, you know, turning the onus on me, turning the, you know, back at me, self-reflection. How can I be better? What am I like, what am I doing wrong in this situation? You know, what kind of things do I need to work on? For me, it was like, you know, communication in times of conflict, confrontation, standing up for myself, having boundaries, knowing when to say no.
To say
You know, at
no,
work,
it's huge. Yeah.
at work, in relationships, in friendships, all of those things. Yeah, my 20s has taught me, honestly, overall, I think independence is a huge one for me.
Yeah.
I feel like, just back to the whole like moving out, being on my own, adulting, I don't know, however you say that. But yeah, really learning just how to cope with things on my own, and like with anxiety. Like, I thought at one point, I thought that I conquered anxiety. I was like,
what a
like,
joke.
because it's so funny, because when I was younger, anxiety to me was panic attacks. Like, I would start to like shake, and my hands would get all clammy, and my heart would race, and I would feel really, really, really nauseous. And my mind would just be spinning, and like my hands would go all like numb and tingly. And I would have these episodes. They'd last for about like 30 minutes or so, and then they'd end, and I'd feel like I ran a marathon. I need to like go sleep or something. But yeah, I would feel like nauseous. Like, I'd always have this fear of vomiting. Like, I have phobia of vomiting. Like, on top of the bug thing, I have phobia of vomiting. So if I ever had a panic attack and I felt nauseous, and like I was in a public place and I had like nowhere to go, that would give me even more anxiety and make it even worse. But yeah, like, that used to be anxiety for me. And I feel like as soon as I started being able to cope with the panic attacks, and you know, like, really, I guess, find my coping strategy through that, and even my mind shift to when I like almost could feel like I was about to have an anxiety attack, being able to be like, you know what, this is not going to happen, and like turn it around. Because your mind is a powerful thing. Like, if you're able to tell yourself something, like, it changes everything.
It's
as soon as you have that power, it's like, it's huge, right? And so I got to the point where like I wasn't having anxiety attacks anymore. I wasn't feeling sick. I thought like, oh, like I conquered anxiety. But my anxiety showed up in other places.
In different ways.
Yeah.
Here's other ways. I feel like about mental health, and it's funny that you're saying that, because on my list of things that I've learned, mental health matters is a huge
100%. Yes.
It's a huge one. And I said it in the last episode, and I'll say it again, guys. Like, take care of your mental health. Prioritize this. It matters. It's important. Like, your mental health like matters in your 20s, in your 30s, in your like 40s, in your 50s. It matters. It's your head, your mind, and what all the emotions that you feel are like something. This is the longest relationship you'll have ever. So prioritize that. And I don't think that with mental health, there's a lot of mechanisms that are like, you know, we tend to turn it down and not to give it the importance that we need to give it to.
Yeah.
And I feel like mental health struggles always, when you grow and you've learned to kind of cope with what you were saying, kind of like how to fix a certain like panic attacks or like triggers that you're having, like things like that, it always shows up in a different way. It's like you close a window and like another opens, and it's just so annoying, you know. It's very annoying. And you got to be on top of that. You just have to. And for me, I feel like I didn't think I had anxiety. Like I knew I was prone to depression. But I didn't think anxiety was a huge thing for me until last year with work. And
I see. Yeah.
And it was bad. And I shut down. I just completely shut down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was having anxiety attacks too. I was having panic attacks too. I was crying. I couldn't sleep. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I learned to manage that at the end of the day. You know, it's just, it's what you said, your brain.
For me, and like for me, when I'd be having a panic attack or just about to, like, I would just like, I'd almost like let myself go there because I thought it was like the end of the world.
The only
other thing. I don't know. And like, I know like the anxiety runs in my family, and I've heard it also be like thought of it like you're having a heart attack. For me, it's not necessarily like that. I think it was more mentally, and then my body reacted to like, you know, my thoughts and stuff like that. And sometimes I have to say, sometimes it is uncontrollable. But I think I got to a good point where like I wasn't having them as frequently. Like before, I would always, for me, it was weird. I would like wake up in the middle of the night and start having them. I'd be sleeping and I'd wake up and like, oh, like I just get so anxious. And it's not even like I was thinking anything. I just like start shaking all of a sudden. It's like a very physical reaction to just like the stress of your life in general. And yeah, honestly, it's not fun to go through. But I'm so glad I've gotten to the point where I have very infrequent anxiety attacks. I rarely experience them anymore, which I'm really glad about. But last year, instead of anxiety, I felt like I went through definitely a state of depression. And that was when, you know, I went through therapy and like all this stuff. But yeah,
which was a blessing.
Yes, which was a blessing. Yes, go to therapy. If you feel like, you know, if you want someone to talk to, if you need that, you should definitely do it. I would recommend it for sure. Therapy is great. I had a great experience, and for me, I feel like it was a different experience because I always had anxiety in my life, but depression, it's so different. Like, and I knew that it was like a mental health concern. Like I knew that there was something off with me. But it's a totally different thing. Depression is like when you're focused on things in the past and you're carrying it with you very heavily. Anxiety is worrying about the future. Anxiety is all about the future. And to me, I was very focused on things, worrying about the future when I was, I guess, younger and like I just moved here. And then after some things happened in my life while I was here, I realized that I was constantly hung up on things that happened in the past experiences, like, you know, things that I said that I wish I didn't, and like, you know, replaying it in my head and beating myself up and getting to a point where I was really depressed. And
I know.
And it's funny. Not fun, but
it's funny because we had it opposite. Like I experienced depression first. You experience anxiety first, and then I experienced anxiety later, and it manifested in different ways, right?
Yes, definitely.
I feel like it feels like depression is just it's the worst. Like
honestly, it is. It's really bad. It's just very dark. Like when I think back to that time period, so dark.
Yeah.
And everything's usually very pink around here.
I know, it's really pink. And,
so
and for me, it was this endless cycle where like I kept falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. And you know, like you never feel like you're picking up.
You feel like, is this it? Like it's just gonna keep going this way?
Keep going this way.
Is this all that life is? Is this all I'm living for? Like, you know, there's all these questions.
And also I feel like
it becomes really dark.
I feel like the darkest thing about depression is that you never really go when it's going to go away. you never know when it's gonna end, and that's the scariest thing. And I feel like that's why I was talking about trauma before, and I feel like I need to say very loud and clear, guys, deal with your trauma, like
yes,
and
head on.
try to be self-aware to what your trauma is. And I know I have a lot of imposter syndrome. I know I have a lot of self-worth issues. I know I have daddy issues, clearly. I know I have like abandonment issues, a lot of abandonment issues. I know I have trust issues. This is stuff that I'm very, very aware of, and that I know I need to really navigate and try to get better at putting in the past. And that also goes to me, like, one of the biggest thing that I've learned this year during my 20s is that what you have gone through doesn't define you. What you have gone through is not who you are. What you have gone through, you're not a victim. If it's not because you've gone through hard things in your life, like, even if it's the hardest thing in the entire earth, that means that you're destined to live more of this. If you've gone through something really, really hard, you know, like, that doesn't mean for the longest time I kept thinking, I've gone through so much shit, I've gone through so much, like, I've gone through so much hard stuff, I've gone through so many hard moments. I feel like my life is only gonna be hard moments, you know. And no, it's not this way.
And
you've gone through hard stuff.
The mindset, and that's the mindset, and that's the belief. Because if you believe, oh, I've had all these terrible things happen to me, and oh, that's just my life, it's just going to keep on happening, then, you know, you're probably not going to get anywhere. Exactly. And I've heard many stories, thankfully, you know, many founders of companies and, you know, people that are doing really amazing things. They come from hardship, and, you know, it's trauma and dealing with, like, you know, whether it's being homeless or having stuff happen in your family or losing family members or things like this. And I've heard like true stories of people coming out the other side being like, I wasn't going to be a victim. I was going to do something about it because I believe in myself.
Here you go. Don't victimize yourself.
Awesome. Yeah. It's awesome, like, to see that and to hear that. And you want to support those people as well, because that stuff that they've been through is relatable. Everyone has a story. And everyone has stuff they've dealt with. It's like, take all the stuff that life has thrown your way, take it and make it, turn it into something good, like turn it into something strength, beautiful, turn it into passion, turn it into produce, like, you know, take that stuff, like let it fuel you. Don't let it walk all over you. Coming to Taylor Swift, if Taylor Swift was able to take all the that she got in 2016 and ending up with the biggest selling tour in the United States, you know, that's inspiring to me, because that just means that you can take the hardest thing that has happened to you, and you can still rise, and you can still be the best version that you can be, and you can still, you know, like, and ending up doing a Steve Jobs kind of situation, and just like creating your life and just making something beautiful. And hardship at the end of the day is, you need it. Like, that's the biggest lesson that you can ever get. You learn through it. You know? Going through and really struggling and knowing what it's like to go through times where, you know, you don't know what's coming next, or you don't know how you're going to handle this, or, you know, just feeling really down about things. Like, that's the whole beauty of life, is that, you know, you're able to be able to experience the happy moments even more, and appreciate them even more, because you know what it's like to feel, you know, to struggle the other way. And I feel like struggles, they teach us lessons. So much. For me, like, I feel like the struggles I've had have really made me do a lot of self-reflection in the last couple of years, and a lot of like personal growth. Like, I've really had to look at myself and implement those things in tough situations where, you know, I might have handled something like this before, but I make a point to doing it differently this time around, to prove, like, I've learned this, like, I know, you know, what the right thing is to do now, you know? Which, and at the end at the end of the day, you and I have talked so much about that, about how life throws the same cycle to you in different ways, you know, like it does.
It's like,
yes. Have you learned your lesson yet? Like,
have you learned? Like, are
Mhm.
we going for another ride?
Are
Is
we?
this
Yeah.
it? Like,
Is this another round? Okay, another round. Here we go.
let's
Oh,
do
she
it
hasn't
again.
learned yet. Let's do it again. Encore.
Which happens to me so many times.
Oh
to
my
be honest
gosh,
with you.
same though. Yeah,
But I
there's
feel
been
like
a few.
that's kind of like connecting me to also another thing that I've learned is that it's okay to not have the typical 20s experience or 30s experience, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Oh
I feel like
yeah.
people beat themselves so much because at 28 I should be in a relationship and I should have an established career.
Yeah.
No, we all have a different timing, we all have a different way of doing things, and
Everyone's journey. Yeah,
we
is
all have
different.
different
Mm-hmm.
lessons to
Yeah.
learn through your own hardships, right?
100%. Yeah, I totally
So
agree with that. I totally agree with that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and I
yeah.
guess the only last thing I guess that I wanted to touch on in terms of what my 20s has taught me so far
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, I've struggled with confidence a lot. I say I've
Mm-hmm.
probably been a pretty reserved, shy person for the most part, but I feel like in the
Mm-hmm.
last few years I've really come into my confidence in my expression and my communication, and you know, even when it comes down to like work stuff, like doubting my skills, my capabilities, in job and relationships, my value, like what value I bring. Like I used to think and say really bad things to myself, and I used to beat myself up a lot. And sometimes I do still struggle with that, but I feel like I've been able to, in many situations, see that, you know what, like I do bring value. I do have, you
You
know,
do.
qualities that, you know,
Are great.
are yeah are good and can be useful, you know, whether that's at work, at my job, that's with my friends, that's in a relationship, like, you know, in terms of being a
Yeah.
partner to someone. Like I feel like I do have some qualities there, and
Of course you
recognizing that
do.
in
Come
yourself.
on. Snap, snap. Of
Thanks.
course you do. You know,
uh,
yeah. No.
and also just realizing that my opinion is valid, and being able to speak
Mm-hmm.
my truth, because before I felt like I would think things in my head but I would
Mm-hmm.
never ever say them out loud,
It's
and
true.
that's just on confidence, like that's just on, you know, like believing that I'm worthy enough to speak on this topic.
That that's funny because I feel like I've learned that like I have that in common too. I feel like
Yes,
as
yes.
I said, you know, like I feel I was very pushed to go through a very traditional kind of like kind of pathway. So it's kind of like being thinking, am I doing this right? Am I going the right
Yeah,
direction?
yeah.
Am I being the right person? And that comes a lot with at the end of the day, confidence has a lot to do with you separating yourself from validation, you separating yourself from people pleasing, you separating yourself
Yes,
from people's
yes.
expectations from you. And the day
Mm-hmm.
you actually say, hey, I want to be who I am, I want to express myself, and I don't care anymore if this is not what you expect, what you want, what you need, because
Yeah.
this is what I need. And that
Mm-hmm.
comes with putting yourself first at any
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, you need to have the strength to be like, okay, am I gonna live someone else's life? Or
Yeah.
am I gonna live mine as
Yeah.
authentically and
Yeah.
as boldly as loudly as I want? Because if I want to be
Yes.
remembered, I want to be remembered because I was like, because I was as Negin as I could ever get to be, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
And that's,
just
you know, on showing up as your authentic self once again, you know?
it's
Um
very important. Yeah.
it's so
It's,
important. It's so important. I feel like we're going to get to that a lot. That's always going to
I
be
know. I feel
a
like
good
also
point.
another one that was very, very important for me. I feel like
Mhm.
you have touched on this when you said that you've learned to really stand up for yourself and that you've
Yeah.
learned to set
Boundaries.
boundaries, right? And
I read a
I
book on that.
feel
It was good.
it was called like Boundaries, was it? Or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, you know, I feel like I have gone through a lot of kind of, I think that I always go through stages. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
think that
Mhm.
I compartmentalize where I have to start the work first, and then
Yeah.
I end up at the last step. So I feel like my first kind of step was work, and I feel like I needed to learn to really kind of stand up for myself, believe in myself, have that self-confidence, has to be like, hey, I'm worth a lot and I have a voice to share here. I have something to say. Listen to me. Hey, you know what I mean? And I feel like I've grown to have that now, and I feel like I'm confident at work. And if someone bothers me or they're not right or whatever, I'll just be like straight up, like straight away. Because I feel like I preach a lot of, I speak my mind. I'm blunt. I'm this. I'm that. But at the end of the day, it takes me a while to really externalize this and to really talk it and really go through the, if I say this to this person, are they going to still like me? Are they still going to respect me? Are they going to be mad at me?
Those things still go through your head. Yeah. Because ever since I've known you, you've always been very blunt. Like, you do say it like it is. But I know you've also said, like, in the beginning, you thought, like, oh, you don't want to, like, hurt my feelings. Because, like, I'm a sensitive person. And, like, I thought that was interesting that you still thought about that. Yeah.
Dude, I texted a coworker that's actually, she's a friend of mine. And I remember texting something and to her, and she didn't reply to me in like a day and a half. If I told you the dark cycle, the anxiety I went through, because I thought
in your head
she got offended or she got mad or she got, you know what I mean? And
I'm with you there.
It wasn't even a conflict thing. It was just like talking, and then she wasn't replying, and I'm like, did I hurt her feelings? Do you know, I went through this whole mental cycle. So I think I'm learning at work to be like, I know what I'm worth. I know what the difference that I bring here. So I'm gonna speak up. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
But in my relationships, I think my next step is to learn to say it the way it is to my people, you know, and to really like, if someone that broke my heart comes back and they're being an asshole, sorry for the word, and I can be like, hey, I don't like how you're behaving, I'm doing something wrong, I should be able to say, hey, I don't like how you're behaving. And I don't, and it's really upsetting because I have it really clear in my mind, but it doesn't go out of my mouth, and I'm really mad at that. But it doesn't matter. But yeah,
it can be hard. And like you said, it's like almost situational because it depends who you're with. Like, it could be coworker, it could be like your friends, and then it could be, you know, a relationship potential, like a romantic kind of relationship potential. And those things could all look differently in how you react. And even like, you know, how you perceive it yourself, because that can be difficult. That can be difficult when you're dealing with like a guy you're into. That's, you know.
And you don't know how to say anything. Like, dude, if I like someone, and we've talked about this, I'm totally unable to go to the dude and be like, hey, want to go out for a drink? I'm totally unable to do this.
That's so funny because I feel like I'm like the one like telling her,
you're
like,
so good at that. Like, I don't know how you do this.
Like, I would do that. I say that I would. I hope I would. I think I would.
Like, honestly, if like, first, if someone likes me, I'm totally oblivious to it. I have no freaking clue.
Oh, but me too. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Actually, that's not
true. Like, say it to me.
Yeah,
it's just the you are more aware than I am.
I am aware because I'm aware if someone likes me, but I don't like them. But I'm not aware if I like that person, because when I like that person, I'm missing that vision that, you know. Like,
it's a little blurry or a little not as clear, I guess, if you're.
So I need to just be like, hey, this is what I want. Hey, I'm not okay with this. Hey, I need to learn to speak up on this, because I cannot for the life of me speak up. Even if you and I have a disagreement, let's say, it's gonna be taking me a lot to tell you, hey, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
You know,
because I think it comes down like situational and like the people that are really important to you. And like, you know, you like, if you're in your head being like, oh my gosh, like, I hope that she doesn't think that I, you know, said this wrong,
that I hate her,
take it the wrong way, or that I hate her. And that's so, there's so much more weight when you're talking to people that you really care about, you know? So it makes sense, honestly. But yeah, I think that wraps up our 20s chat. Do you have anything else to add? I feel like that was good.
Guys, just like be your most, you know,
take care of yourself. Be your most authentic self. Take care of yourself. if you're in your 20s, which if you're listening, you probably are, take the time to really get to know you. You know, get to know your triggers, learn from your trauma. Deal with those things. Ask yourself really uncomfortable questions.
Oh yeah,
I had to do that.
Really
I spent a lot of time in my head. Change your expectations. Put the what do you call it? Like you have to look at yourself and be like, you know, like, what can I do here for myself?
Yeah. And also,
how can I be a better me?
Don't be too strict on what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it, because those things fluctuate. They change.
Dream big and
just keep evolving, and do not put as much pressure on you, because when you start putting so much pressure is when you start losing the essence of what makes you. You know what I mean? And
that's true too. Yeah.
Also, do not put tags. Like, do not put value, do not put your self-worth on tags, as in like how many followers you have on Instagram, or how much you earn, like what's your salary thing. Or you know, how many friends you have, or like do not put your self-worth in numbers and metrics. Put your self-worth within yourself. That's, I think, the biggest thing.
I like that. All right. Yeah, I think that wraps it up. So, guys, that's awesome. Guys,
thank you so much for listening. You're the best.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Us MikNeg. You can find us personally as well at Persian Brunette or at Michaela Kewen. You can make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast and you're following along. We upload on a podcast every Thursday. We have a new live episode every Thursday. So be sure to come back for that. And we'll chat at you later. So you're the best. Bye. You're going to kill it.
You're the best.
You're
amazing. You're the best. You're going to go out there. You're going to own it. The world is yours. The world is your oyster.
The world is your oyster.
Yeah. Here we go.
And you're going to do great. So have an amazing week, guys. We'll chat at you later. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.